Practice 7 today. The guys are getting after it, practicing really hard. Really pleased where these guys are. Have a lot of increased depth in the edge room, a lot of experience. Adding Kyle Kennard, JT Gear, BT, all those guys, experienced guys. Gilbert Edmonds back. So really pleased where those guys are. A lot of competition, which is a core value in our program. Want to give a quick shout out to our women's basketball team. Shout out to them, Final Four, undefeated season, heck of a season. Also want to give a little, shout out to my alma mater, North Carolina State, the Wolfpack, women's and men's making the Final Four. So, just shout out to those teams. Any questions?
Coach, obviously you brought up Kyle Kennard. You're bringing in a couple veterans to mix in with some of these freshmen like Dylan Stewart. What are you seeing from the dynamic in your room, and then also what are you seeing from a kid like Dylan?
Yeah, the dynamic is great. You mentioned, like I said, Kyle Kennard. We're encouraging him to, bring his experience. Sharing that knowledge and that wisdom with some of the young guys, having played a lot of years at Georgia Tech. So really, really happy with that. And then Dylan, man, he's as advertised. Obviously the pace is, a little different for him in terms of, college football, which is expected. But we're really pleased where he is.
I won't ask you who you think's going to win this week, and don't want to upset the Gamecock fans since NC State's playing them.
That's a conflict of interest, man.
That's why I won't ask you that.
I'm gonna just say the Gamecock women's basketball team. They've been doing it, man. Under Coach Staley.
I'm not going to ask you that.
Right.
But, you mentioned the experience in that room and just the depth, especially with guys that have been able to play at this level. What can that do for an edge room in particular to be able to put more pressure on, be able to have fresher legs, especially when you look back to last season, maybe when you got into the fourth quarter, some of the guys up front, not just the edge room, but it seemed like sometimes it would have been nicer to have, fresher bodies.
Absolutely, man. I mean, we want to treat that thing like hockey shifts, right? With the increased depth, like you said, having fresh legs, and once we get to the fourth quarter, that's only gonna help us.
When, as a defense, y'all are bouncing back and forth between the 4-down and the 3-down stuff. How does that change things for you, or does it change things for you and Traven, and how you guys are coaching and teaching your guys, and just sort of the whole dynamic that comes with that type of
thing? So it doesn't change a lot. I know, like Coach White mentioned to you guys, we're a flex nickel defense, and just that being multiple is awesome. We have guys, we can move them around in a lot of different spots. A guy like Goosey, I don't know, Elijah Davis. I don't know if I gave y'all a little nugget there. Y'all didn't know his nickname was Goosey, right? Elijah Davis, he's a guy who was a defensive tackle. Right now he's in the edge room, so we're able to move him around in different spots. And like I said, I mean, it's great to be multiple, and love T-Rob, man. We work great together. We do a lot of things together, man. Love T-Rob, and I expect our guys to dominate up front this year.
Obviously, Desmond was a guy who flashed last year as a freshman. What have you seen from him so far through spring practice?
Yeah, Des is doing a good job. He, the biggest thing about Desmond is his length. He has great length. He's a 6'6" guy, long arms. In the SEC, you need that length. So Desmond he's doing a really good job with him, just emphasizing, his get off in the pass rush. As the year went along last year, he was able to continue to get better in his pass rush, get better on his get off. And for him, I just keep challenging him to, gain some extra weight, right? I see him as a long limb guy who I feel like he can hold 265. So that's my challenge. So Des, you listening, man, I'm still challenging you. 265 by the season, big dog.
What has Gilbert brought since coming back and having the experience of being at South Carolina, but then leaving and coming back?
Yeah, so obviously Gilbert transferred this past year, and that just says a lot about him coming back and just the culture. Him willing to come back to this culture. So what I would say when he bought, they played an undefeated team last year. So he was able to gain some experience, and just for him, man, I really just like his effort. We talk about leading the SEC in effort in our room, and he's been showing that. And the guys really respect him because he came in and he just went straight back to work.
I wanted to ask you about another guy from last year. What did you see from Brian Thomas towards the end of last year that you feel like is really going to carry over into this year?
Yeah, Brian, man, I love Brian. I'm glad you asked about him. For Bry, right now he's 247. Right, 247. I think he might have played like 235 last year. But even with that increased weight, right, he's able to maintain his speed. So for Brian, three things in pass rush we talk about, all right? We talk about the approach, the move area, and the finish. All right, Brian has a great approach. The approach is your get off, right? He's getting off the football. He has one of the best get offs on our team. For him, really is the move area and the finish that was really trying to, he had some quarterback pressures and quarterback hits last year. We're trying to turn those things into sacks. So for Brian, that increased weight is only going to help him even more. He's able to add more power to his game, right? He's able to add more counters to his game. So for him, I'm really excited about Brian Thomas.
When we talked to Kyle Kennard at Transfer Media Days, he talked about how you were trying to reinvent his game even as a transfer and as developed as he is. What are some of the things that you're telling a transfer like Kyle Kennard, and how do you improve a guy that's really developed already?
Absolutely. So Kyle Kennard, I think he might have had 6 sacks last year. If you look at it, he really should have had at least double digits, at least 10. Right? So for him, main thing, I try to give our guys one thing that they can really get better at. And I talked about the approach in the pass rush. So for him, when it's pass rushing opportunities, really getting in what we call a jet mode stance, right? Really getting off the ball. We talk about shooting out and not popping up straight out your stance. So for him, really just fixing his stance, getting his rear end up in the ground, and just we want to gain ground on our first step. Just looking at his film, a lot of his first and second down rushes, his rush stance looked the same as his third down jet mode stances. So that's just one little nugget. So he's continuing to get better on that, and I think that's going to take him to the next level.
You mentioned the hockey shifts. What is the ideal rotation for you? How many bodies are you looking for, and how often are you trying to rotate them?
Right. So I don't know if there's a set number. I think maybe in our room, I think the scholarship number is maybe 8 in the edge room. I think we have 7 guys right now. But like I said, we want fresh bodies, and like you said, we're a multiple flex defense, like Coach White mentioned, and we can have our guys all over the place. So the more the merrier, to be honest with you. JT Gear, for example, he's another guy I just want to hit on. He came in last year as a transfer. He had a kind of lower body injury throughout the season. He's a competitive guy, so he wanted to play. Right, so he wasn't 100%, but he still was able to make plays. So he's another guy that I'm really excited about. He's at full strength now.
Well, that's who I was going to ask you about. What about him gets you excited? What are some of those traits that you like?
So he's a competitive guy, and he's productive. Like I just mentioned, with the limited snaps that he did play last year, like I say, he missed like maybe the first 4 or 5 games or whatnot. But when he got in, you saw him flash. Right, so in our room, we're all about competition. We do a production game every week. All right, we practice Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday most of the time. It's been a production game going into week 3. First 2 weeks, JT Gear wins it. Right, so just so that's another. I hope that get my guys riled up. I hope they listen to this. JT said he's going to sweep them this week, so we'll see.
Coach, you talked about the defensive tackle room too. They've obviously gotten a little bit more depth. How much easier does that make your job when the guys on the inside and then also at linebacker too, a little bit more restocked, are doing their job as well?
Right. We talk about all 4 rushing as one. We have pass rush days. The defensive tackles, the edge guys, we meet together on our games and stunts and all that stuff. So we're always together. We're always speaking the same language. But it's great, man. Those guys are doing a really good job. Obviously, we have Tonka back. We have TJ back. We have Boogie back, all those veteran guys. Nick Barrett, he's slim and trim now. Nick Barrett, I think he actually got some abs now, man. All right, but he's doing a good job, man. And then we added those transfers as well. So Monkel is a guy transfer from Alabama that's looking really good out there. So I'm really excited about those guys as well inside.
Hey, Coach, I'm going to bring up NC State again. Going back 10 years ago from when you and Clayton were at NC State together, how much have y'all changed in just philosophy or coaching personality or anything like that in that 10-year period?
Right. So personalities, I think we're the same. Clayton's been the same guy since I met him in 2013. He's been the same guy. I like to think that I've been the same as well. And just from a football standpoint, I feel like we both continue to evolve, right? Clayton went to Western Kentucky from North Carolina State. He's evolved the package. I was in the NFL for 6 years or whatnot, And, I was able to, evolve and bring some ideas and things of that nature. And I think that's the big thing with, Coach White just in general. Like you said, the flex nickel defense, and just continue to evolve and just use our personnel to our advantage. Yeah, appreciate you guys.